because I did have a PhD and I was fucking miserable. I do have a PhD, I should say, and I was fucking miserable. I've been to the lowest of the lowest of the low. We are not on this earth in this space to be experiencing that. We're absolutely not. And because I've been there, I want everyone to know like how life can be like. Yes, in our soul work, these challenges come because it is part of our soul growth. It is part of, oh, I'm still holding this doubt. I'm still holding this pain. I'm still holding whatever it may be, these traumas. But as we get to feel them, we get to be with them. And then when we're in those space, we get to go, and even in the discomfort, it gets to be a good day. And even in this discomfort, it gets to be a bad day. And that is okay. But doing our soul work and our personal work, it's not separate to anything else. And as our animal friends are, and what we are here to do is to be in that state of our soul evolution, to be highest level of consciousness that we can be. And that's where I want everyone to be. And the way for me as a soul and the medicine that I'm to bring forward is to do it with our animal friends, to do it for animal professionals, animal guardians, through their animal friends. There's no difference between whether we are doing it consciously when we work at a bank, consciously and we build cars, consciously and we teach at a gym. There's all different ways of doing it. And I kind of want to share this story because this whole concept of, oh well, Isla, you contemplated suicide and you had really bad experiences, and many people can be there, or even animals, right? We're kind of talking about animals that may be in a loving home where the guardians want the best for them. What about animals that are in a home where they are still being abused and punished and shouted out, or the person doesn't care? They're just at a different level of consciousness. They're not right or wrong or good or bad in that way. They're just at a different level of consciousness, but it's still part of the oneness. So like Joe shared, of like everything is interconnected. So again, we can see something outside of ourselves. Well, I'm certainly not like that person that's hitting the dog, shouting the dog, abusing the dog, not understanding their dog. But in a way we kind of are, because nothing is separate to us. The things that we see out in the world that we would say are unkind, that are wrong, like how can someone do that to an animal? We are also indirectly responsible for then that person showing up as a message of consciousness, but now in a physical form. Because we can go, but where have I spoken those words to myself? Where have I tortured myself? Where have I punished myself? Where have I hated on myself? And because so many of us are doing that, it can't we can't contain it in ourselves. And because we are energy and vibration, what happens is energy follows consciousness, which is why, yes, the words that we speak, the thoughts that we have, are put out to the world and are reflected back to ourselves, but they're put out into the world. So we can actually start to see, okay, that person that is abusing that animal that is having a lot of suffering, as the name we would give it, how am I indirectly responsible for that? Which most people don't want to hear. Most people don't. I'm not responsible directly or indirectly for that at all. We are, because where have you put that suffering on yourself? Where have you put that abuse on yourself? I did exactly the same many years ago. I literally walked around every day going, I don't deserve love. I'm not lovable. I don't deserve love. And so, of course, unconsciously so, I put myself into those experiences where I wasn't deserving of love, but that's what I believed, which is not true. We are supposed to be here to be expressions of unconditional love, which is again what our animal friends bring us into. But if this kind of helps to land even more, it's not my story that I'm going to share, it's someone else's story. So I was on a talk many years ago, and it was kind of around consciousness and healing. And there was a lady from Africa that was sharing this story. So her grandmother is a medicine woman, and she came to her grandmother to say, grandmother, I'm hurting, my heart is hurting because I don't understand this world that is supposed to be about consciousness, care, love, kindness. And it was around the time when the twin towers collapsed. She's like, there's so much, so like I don't understand how the world, how spirit, how these things happen if everything's supposed to be about love. And her grandmother sat with her and she's like, sweetheart, everything is interconnected. So she was I'm kind of paraphrasing now, but she used this as an example to basically say how consciousness is rising, but because it's going to take time, because it the greed has been there for such a long time, the ego, that it's all about me, I can't possibly talk about the insecurities I have, so I'm just going to put it onto somebody else. So she shared that in that moment when the Twin Towers collapsed, like even we think about it now, certainly for me when I feel into it, I'm just like, it's still that harrowing like shock just makes me just turn into stone. I just freeze. When the Twin Towers collapsed throughout the world, everybody went like, what the fuck? Like, no, like, come, really? Oh my goodness, this is real. So everybody in that moment pretty much paused. Everyone stopped breathing, took a breath in together, and breathed out together. In that moment, we absolutely became one. We all breathed in together and all breathed out together. We talked about it more. There was more care in the community. We're looking after our neighbours, our family, our friends. Are you okay? How you did? Oh my goodness, do you need anything? There was this huge rise in consciousness.